What is going on YouTube? This is a therapeutic edge.
Well, what's going on, gang? As you can tell, today I have been joined by my not at all crazy and completely normal wife, Women Carry Knives. How you doing over there?
I'm doing great.
I see that. I got something that's very exciting to me on the table. I got something very exciting to me next to me as well. But I got something that's very exciting to me on the table. This is the Microtech Matrix, and it is a monster of a knife. Now, Kershaw makes the Matrix. Microtech made the original Matrix. Then there was a ZT 770. This design has been made by a bunch of different companies. This is the most recent iteration from Microtech. It is made by Reich. Hold on. Can you hear the American-made knife bros being upset?
Freaking out a little bit?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't care. Microtech and Reich together is a fantastic combination, as evidenced by things like this. I mean,
Reich does fantastic work.
they really do.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Matrix here is another one of their collaborations with Reich. We'll come back to the SOCOM Bravo here. And I don't know. I've had an opportunity a couple of times to get one. I passed on it, but recently I was doing some knife trading with a friend, where a bunch of the knives you're seeing most recently came from. This was on the table, so I was like, yeah, let's do that. Before we get started, there is one. I'm gonna get the elephant out of the room. That's just stupid. There's no two ways about it. Microtech loves their glass breakers. None of the Microtechs that I have glass breakers because I don't break glass, I guess.
But for the people that want to know, is it removable?
Well, it's what holds the pocket clip on.
Right.
And so unless you can find the right size nut or screw to go in there, no. I'm going to look around. There must be a delete kit out there. It is not. It's really well made. Look at the milling on that. It's all titanium. It does have a ceramic or some sort of heavy metal, or excuse me, not heavy metal, but some sort of glass breaking implement right there in the tip, which is really nice. Just
the tip?
Yeah. Okay, now we got that bit of stupid out of the way. The rest of this thing, and for those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, you know I like big, kind of silly knives. This thing is all of that. So let's take a look at what you get. First and foremost, as I said, it is all titanium and M390. It is not the M390 BK that you get on stuff like the Amphibian here. This is Microtech's sort of specialty mix for M390. This is straight M390, which is fine. You get this really nice carbon fiber inlay. It's really pretty. You get the blue pivot collar, which is kind of a thing they do over at Reich. You get a sort of free-floating backspacer, which is, I don't know. I just think this thing is cool looking. What do you think?
I think it's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
great looking at the carbon fiber. So well done on that.
And for those of you that always complain, it is in fact on both sides.
Right.
Right. So let's get some specs out of the way, and we'll do some size comparisons. As you can see, this is a tiny little knife. You are looking at 3.5 inches on 3 3/4 inches of M390. It is a beautiful design. It's got this big, well, it's got a giant hole in it. I posted a video recently of a knife with a hole in the blade, and the first comment was, that interferes with the overall survivability of the blade. And I'm like, well, if you don't use your knives for prying, you're never going to know. Everything is milled the way it should be. Everything is crowned. The only sharp edge on this knife is right where you want it, which is right here. And let's take a look at the bevel. Yep, nicely done. Of course, Reich always does a good job. It is a satin finish on the blades. It has got a darker finish on this fuller right here. Overall, it is sort of a sandblasted or lightly blasted titanium, which is really nice. Look at the intricacy of the work on the back of this thing. Anyway, all right. So you get 3.5 inches of cutting on 3 3/4 inches of M390. The grip area from behind the flipper tab is 4 1/4 inches. I have relatively large hands. There's a lot of knife sticking out there, but it is very comfortable.
Yeah. For those of you that are like me and have smaller hands, this is gigantic. And not even going with the knife part, just going with the handle. You've got a good, well, including
Inch and a half.
including the glass breaker.
The stab
We were
poking.
talking, what, probably 3 inches for me?
Inch sticking out.
Yeah.
full inch sticking out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is not small. It's not thin either, because this is, well, you can see it's actually multiple layers. There's the inside of the titanium, then there's an outside edge. On some versions of this whole thing is titanium, which probably cuts down on the weight a little bit.
Yeah, but for its size, it's not as heavy as I thought it was going to be.
No, it's not. It may be milled. I don't know. It's interesting design. It really is. They've gotten away from their triangular sort of proprietary screws. They're not using them on the amphibian, or well, I'll show you guys in a bit. But
I just want you guys to know he was pointing at the knives just now that you cannot see.
they're over here. Anyway, from tip to tip to tail. Well, okay, so it's 8 3/4 inches of knife, and then if you include, and you have to, the knob on the end, it is 9 1/4 inches of knife, a little over, almost 9 1/2 inches. It's a lot of knife. Closed length is 5 1/16, and then with this it is 5 1/2.
How long is that actual glass breaker, by the way? About 1/2 inch.
Let's see.
Maybe?
I don't know. I think we'll just use a regular ruler for that.
You getting it?
You getting it?
Sorry that.
The glass breaker on this thing
1/2 inch.
is a 1/2 inch long. Okay. I mean, I suppose if you're, gonna, oh, look at that, you get somebody. Although I do have to say, if you're using that to jab someone, and because you forgot that that's at the other end, well, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, it's a lot of knife. Now, the in-the-pocket profile, again, because this is a monster knife. So here's the thing. It is a deep carry clip with a 1/2 inch of pokey stabby sticking out the other end. If you're like me and carry a little extra weight around the middle, I mean, of course, I'm in perfect shape, but it's possible that I overhang my belt line just a little bit. You may stab yourself with this when you sit down. I don't know. Now, in the pocket, it's 2 inches. By way of example, the amphibian, which is also a really large knife, is under 1 3/4 inches. This is a lot of knife. You're going to know it's in your pocket. It does have a flipper, which does have jimping on it. So if you put stuff in your pocket next to this much knife, it's going to bang on it. Or as Nick Shabazz used to say, it's a pocket pecker. It's going to peck it.
Yep.
I don't care. I love this thing. It's got a ceramic ball on the milled titanium pocket clip, so it slips in and out of the pocket fairly well. It does a good job. Doesn't tear up or anything, and it holds on really nicely. Oh, this thing is great.
Now, for women with smaller pockets,
this is not your knife.
He did let me carry that. The problem is I would tend to carry something that size either in my back pocket or my waistband. But because of, I'll put that down, because of the glass breaker,
it stabs stuff.
It stabs stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just was not.
So let's do some size comparisons with knives people are probably more familiar with. Here it is against the Para 3. Right. The Matrix is just enormous. Here it is against the PM2. Still, the Matrix is enormous. How about some Benchmade fans? I know you're out there. Here it is with the full-size grip. Yeah, no, the Matrix is just bigger in every possible dimension. I said it was a relatively thick knife. This is a full-size Griptilian with aftermarket G10 scales on it. Look at the size difference. I mean, this thing is so big. I love it.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it is what she said. And then finally, the bug out. Here's the best thing. I love doing this. So the bug out, you can just carry it in the handle as a spare.
Yes.
Yes, you can. Shall we weigh it?
Here you go.
Thank you. My lovely assistant. Now, I learned in my last video that's kind of hard to see, so I'm going to do a little shading. But let's see, start with grams. That is 200 grams even, which works out to be 7.1 ounces. That is a hefty knife. Let's break out the magic calipers and talk about why. First and foremost, let's zero that so that it actually fits. Through the center at the thickest spot, this thing is 14 millimeters, which is impressive, or a little over a ½ inch. It is a thick knife. You get, I don't want fractions, I want millimeters, thank you. At the thickest spot, you are talking about 4 millimeters of M390. But you got this lovely high flat grind. It comes all the way down. This would be pretty good hollow ground, wouldn't it?
It'd be beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about this way? I don't usually do that, but let's, yeah, the handle itself is 35 millimeters. There's so much knife. But I don't mind. It's exceptionally comfortable. I'm not a huge fan of sort of forced choils like this on knives, and yet the way they did this, it really gives you something to hold on to. It is an excellent slicer. It is a great cutter. It is very good, and it better be, because having poked around on the interwebs just before I started this video, excuse me for here, gang. Yeah, these inexpensive things are coming in at $4.79. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of knife for the money. It's a lot of money for the knife also, but okay, let's pause. The millwork alone on the ridiculous glass breaker, I mean, that took a ton of time. The effort put into, I think this is actually where you're supposed to put the lanyard back here. Just the amount of milling on the titanium here is astonishing. It doesn't surprise me that this thing is this expensive. It really doesn't. And as with all things, if that's too expensive, I understand. If you want something like this, it won't be, because you want this. That's just the way it goes. Anyway, this has been the Microtech Matrix. I have been very glad to get my hands on it. I've been very happy to share it with you. I'd like to thank my co-host, Women Carry Knives.
Why, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. We're going to move on to the next video here. I'm going to make some more videos. You're going to see some new stuff coming up. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And on that note, remember, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. We'll see you next time.